Hey, I bet you if someone at like a rally or something said, "Hey, jerk dick off Vance," I bet you that would stay with him for a long time.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners,
Mm-hmm.
the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night beats mental illness with its fucking bare hands.
That's fucking right. We did it.
Medication? Nah. I
Who
got
needs
this
it?
one. I have a beautiful mind. I could beat it myself.
I'll just crunch some fucking numbers. Now I'm cured.
It's just a problem to be solved. I'll figure it out.
God, that mind truly was beautiful. Truly.
I'm Steve Nash, former basketball player for the Phoenix Suns.
Nice. I love your work.
Thanks.
And I'm
Is it
Russell
Suns?
Brand.
Is that the Phoenix?
Yeah, he
team?
played for the Suns. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, good pull. You got it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And who are you? Or
I'm Russell Brand, I said. Nobody listens to me on this show.
yeah. And this is a podcast where we could pick a Best Picture winner at random and try to
No
figure
order.
out if it's Best Picture worthy. And this week we're talking about the 2002 Best Picture.
Oh.
A Beautiful Mind,
Beautiful.
directed by
Tremendous.
Ron Howard. Father of Bryce Dallas,
Oh, didn't know that.
star of Happy Days.
No fucking way.
Believe it or snot,
Wait, who starred in Happy Days?
Ron Howard
Oh, okay.
with fucking Arthur Franzarelli, fucking
Oh my
the other
God, my
people that were in
favorite.
that show.
My favorite characters. Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, and evening TV.
Andrew, you wanted to do the synopsis for A Beautiful Mind. Directed by Ron Howard, starring
yeah.
Russell Crowe, Jennifer Connelly, fucking Vision is here, Paul Bettany.
Nice. Oh, that's why you looked familiar.
What
Yeah.
is A Beautiful Mind about?
It's a pretty simple movie. Basically, there's this guy, this guy John Nash. He's like this super smart mathematician, professor who works at Harvard. Right? Is that Harvard where he's at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes to Harvard.
Goes to Harvard, goes to grad school, and then becomes part of this like Pentagon operation, some like undercover ship where like, he's working for the government and they're fighting against the Russians and there's all this espionage going on. And then like it gets so deep that, like the Russians kind of end up getting him caught in this psychiatric facility, and then he's trying to figure out his way out, and then like no one really believes him for some reason, but like the whole time, like it's really just about the US versus the Russians.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a proxy war fought through Russell Crowe.
That's what you thought the movie was about?
Yeah. I mean, it was a little confusing because at the end, like, it doesn't really resolve. Like,
Well, where did you stop in the movie?
well, because where did the bot, like, I just didn't know if they found the bomb or not. Like it was on U.S. soil, and they kind of just left that thread hanging.
This movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes. How long was the cut that you watched?
It was about an hour 10.
Got it.
This is the director's cut.
Got it.
No, of course, John Nash turns out in a major plot twist. Cover your ears if you still want to watch this movie, but he turns out to be schizophrenic, and all of his job and a lot of his friends are lies.
Yeah, he's having like visual hallucinations.
There's definitely a tale of two movies, right? Or two halves of a movie.
For sure.
Like the first half is I don't know if you agree with me, but the first half, the first hour is a bad movie, right?
Oh, really? What?
I think so.
I actually really like. So the movie starts out, the first like 20, 30 minutes is him in college. I actually really like all that stuff.
Oh, I thought it was painful.
Why? Why was it painful?
It's just very slow, and it's a lot of meandering with no real point to it. Like the thrust of the first hour of the movie is just like his romance with Alicia, which I feel like is a little bit flat in my opinion, especially in that first hour. And also he's just like working on some math. So I don't really know. So I was like, is this the whole movie? And then it takes and then like, the Russians, quote unquote, are chasing after him, and like there's shots fired in the car, and I'm like, whoa, this took a turn.
Did you like that stuff? So did you know anything about this movie going in?
All I knew was like the motif of like seeing numbers and shit. That's really all I knew.
Gotcha.
So like the twist that he has schizophrenia was definitely, I was like, oh shit, like that floored me for sure.
Yeah, this is the third time I've seen this movie, I believe.
Oh wow.
I think this movie's like okay to like solid enough.
Yeah.
It's like a on base double, maybe.
Okay. That's good.
I just found that now that I've seen the movie enough times, I know where it's going. So that first hour, I like the college stuff, but after that, I'm really like, okay, so now I just have to wait around while this guy thinks that like all this like espionage shit is actually happening. It's like, so I have to watch this for 45 minutes, not be invested because I know it's not real, and I'm just gonna kind of like I was like a little bored for like 45 minutes. I was like, this is like a little bit. The movie doesn't really hold up to rewatches.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Because I feel like a lot of the enjoyment of this movie comes from that twist, because it really reframes the entire thing. Like entire characters that you thought were like staples in his life, like his roommate that he met in college, and then he has a niece, and then they turn out not to be real.
Yeah.
And I had like a huge oh shit moment watching that when that was revealed. And then I think it gets interesting after that. Then I think their relationship becomes interesting. Like it explores just having to, one, be in a relationship with someone who has a mental disability, and also, who is your co-parent. Like they have a kid together.
I think Jennifer Connelly is good in this movie. I do think the role is like kind of underwritten. Like,
Yeah,
she has some complexity, but I just think like you never really get a sense of what is her character's name? Do we remember? Alicia,
which is telling because it's like, she doesn't have. There's nothing to her outside of her relationship with John.
Yeah, exactly. And like Jennifer Connelly is a very good actress.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's now, but this is not it. I mean, she's fine and she's not bad, but she's doing what the movie's asking her to do. It's just like the movie isn't really asking that much, and I find that a little bit insulting.
Jennifer, come on the show.
Although I do, the stuff that is interesting with their marriage is like he after he finds out he's John finds out he's schizophrenic, he goes on like I guess like antipsychotics or something. He goes on medication. And like he doesn't really have a sex drive. Like at one point she like wants to have sex with him and like he won't. And I'm like, that actually like feels like something. It's that you got some juice there, and it's like, but then it's just like kind of one scene, and then
what'd you think of that scene
where she freaks out in the bathroom?
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a little bit. It's a little too big. Like, why don't you just have her like turn over and be sad? Like, why does she go in the bathroom and like break glass?
I feel like this was like an alternate cut that they had. Like, I think the initial take they did, she kind of just like turns over and is frustrated, and then they're like, Ron Howard's probably sitting there like, I don't know, let's do a fun one.
Jennifer, go absolutely ballistic.
Like, she goes ballistic as if it's like, I guess it was maybe like a last straw, so to speak. But it seemed such an overreaction. And really unfair to, like, I get that she's frustrated, but it was also like very much unfair to John, who has to take this medication. But she just screams.
This movie's weird. It's a weird movie.
It is, yeah, it's a weird movie. But like, it's not a bad weird.
It's not a bad weird. It's a very, but it feels like a very, we don't really get, well, that's actually not true. This is a very Academy Oscar-y movie where it's like a guy overcomes some kind of obstacle.
Yeah.
It's not like Green Book, but it also like there's a handshake going on there where it's like about something, but like it's sort of like not really interested in like the nuances of it. It's more trying to like how do we streamline mental illness for an audience and also make it like interesting as a movie, which like I get because you are making a movie. It just feels like, I don't know, is this the best representation of mental illness? I don't know. Like, I don't think
Almost
John Nash actually
not.
had these like hallucinations where he was like a spy. I think like he just struggled with like visual hallucinations and stuff, and I'm sure it was very difficult, obviously, but the movie has to movie it up, and it leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth at times.
I mean, that's another thing entirely. Like, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the story of John Nash, who was a real person. And I'm not sure how accurately this adheres to his story.
Yeah.
My guess would be not very much.
I will say, if John Nash's teeth are like the mouthpiece that Russell Crowe wears in this, I think we'll be fast friends.
What the fuck does that mean?
I just love the prosthetic teeth Crowe has in this movie.
Oh, are they not real teeth? Not
I don't
real
think
choppers?
so.
Oh.
I just really like it. I like the way it makes, I like the way it changes his performance, like in terms of like, you know, the way he speaks and holds his mouth and stuff. I think it's kind of fun.
He is acting his little heart out.
He's good in this.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good.
I'm not going to say he's always good, but he's good in this.
You're right though. Like, it's as much as schizophrenia and mental illness are so core to the movie, it's really like not even about it. And that's showcased like so hard in the ending where he just like kind of figures some shit out and then is able to deal with it. It seems very unrealistic.
Yeah, like I don't know, maybe John Nash actually did that in real life. I just find it's some movie bullshit where it's like, no, he doesn't need pills. He needs the strength of the love of his wife and his own internal brain that is so good that brought him so far. He just needs that to get over it. It's like, are you fucking crazy?
He loves his wife so fucking hard that he beat fucking schizophrenia. How about that?
Yeah, that's like where it gets like really Oscar-y, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy overcame adversity just through sheer force of will. And I'm like, that's not really how I'm sure maybe there are cases of this. I just don't think that's really how it works.
I mean, literally the line that he says, the thing that gets him to realize that the visions that he's seeing are not real, is that he just like Alicia is driving away in the rain because John tried to, almost accidentally drown their child, and then she's
Yeah.
driving off, and it's pouring rain, and then he stops the car, and he's like, Marcia can't age. It's like, what the fuck are you talking
Who?
The girl that I see, Marcia, she doesn't age. Therefore,
My
she's
niece?
not real.
Yeah.
Then she's like, okay, this is a breakthrough. And it all works out. He goes back to Harvard. He becomes a professor again. And he fucking, yeah, you guessed it, wins the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
That was such a turn.
By the end, once he decides to like, oh, I'm gonna beat schizophrenia myself with my bare hands,
Bare fucking hands.
the last like 15 minutes, it's like, all right, now his life's just gravy.
Yeah, there's literally no setback. Like, there's a scene where like
He starts hanging out at Harvard, I guess, and then like he's arguing with like his hallucinations and like publicly.
yeah, there's
But
there's some fucking kid with mutton chops that makes fun of the way he walks.
Yeah. And that kid could go
should be
screw.
shoved in. Yeah, that kid should be shoved in a hole.
Yeah. But yeah, then John starts teaching in Harvard. He becomes like a really good teacher. Then he gets the Nobel Prize, and he's remembered forever, I guess, because of A Beautiful Mind directed by Ron Howard.
God fucking bless. There's that kid that approaches him towards the end of the movie, and he's like, "Oh shit,
yeah.
did you just solve that equation?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I did." And then he wins the Nobel Prize. It's like written on a window.
I wrote down that like math and like theoretical math is so funny because like John Nash has like this big breakthrough like in college. It's like because he's looking for in the college section early on. He's like, I need my big original idea that's gonna like make me stand out and like open up any door for me for my future.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he figures it out, he just like it's so funny because he has an idea about like the world, and then he goes to his dorm room when he figures it out and just starts writing like equations on his window. And I'm like, math is so silly.
It is kind of, I guess, well, it's silly to us because we really can't even conceptualize
get
it. No, I don't get it at all.
I'm like, you already said the idea. Isn't that like enough? Why does it have to be put into like an equation? I don't really understand.
Right. Like there are some fuckers out there who are like, oh, he's doing the math.
Right.
But I'm sitting at home like, he's sure is writing on a lot of windows.
Yeah.
I know we've made fun of this movie a lot, but I do like it.
It's a fun watch.
I mean,
fun, but you know what I mean. It's like entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining. And there are some genuinely impactful moments, like when Alicia goes to visit him, and he's undergoing like the electroshock therapy. It's definitely tough to watch because all she says is the writing. I think in that scene is really good. Because she's just like, how many times does he have to? And the doctor's like, 5 times a day for 2 weeks, and you're like, fuck, that sucks. It's emotionally impactful. There's that part where John Nash is like riding his bike around Harvard in the little loop, infinity loop, and then like it fades into he's drawing an infinity symbol.
Yeah.
That is movies. That is fucking movies right there.
That is so cinema.
I was like, this is movies right here.
Yeah. I also like, I do think I don't like it maybe like ethically, but in the context of the movie's like weirdly anti-medication. And and it makes you like on that, at least it made me feel like I was like with the movie in that way, because like once John Nash goes on medication, he like becomes like kind of like hollowed out. He's like very slow, like it's sort of like dulling like his mind, which is like the thing that he like kind of like made his name on, you know, like being able to think. And now like he can't really, and it is like really devastating. You're like, damn, this is like he's just sort of, and he's like sort of just like kind of staring into space. He can't really like help around the house. Like he doesn't have like kind of the awareness. He doesn't have like the drive. It's like, it's all very like sad.
Like, what do you do when the thing that defines you is taken away from you?
Yeah.
I think that's what the movie tries to tackle.
Yeah.
And it does a fairly good job of it.
The early part, the college parts of this, it's actually Princeton, I guess, that they're at, not
Oh,
Harvard.
Princeton. You're right.
Same fucking, who fucking
Same
even,
fucking
who
thing, yeah.
even cares?
No. Harvard, if you're listening, there's no difference between you, Yale, Princeton, Oxford, and Cambridge. No one gives a shit. You all look the same,
Yeah.
and you all talk the same.
Yeah. But the early parts, the Princeton parts, kind of reminded me of Oppenheimer a little bit. Like, just like,
Very much so. Yeah.
like fucking Cillian Murphy, like losing his mind, like while like seeing fucking equations and like seeing like, he's like, oh my God, the universe is made up of all this stuff, but I can't even fucking contain it.
I think Oppenheimer does it so much in a so much more entertaining way, though.
Yeah.
I do have a question. So he is involved with some sort of government thing, right? Like, that's real.
Yeah, they're at like this like kind of like they're basically at like this big like think tank school, like him and some of his college buddies, where like they're just like they basically just like get like allowed to use this facilities to like come up with equations. And they also like teach the occasional class. And like yeah, they get called in like on Pentagon shit occasionally, like every once in a while.
Got it.
Yeah.
So some of it was real, but his handler, the guy in the black hat, was not real.
No. I do think this movie's kind of interesting because it's like it kind of poses the question of like in the paranoid time of like the Cold War, of course John Nash is like not being able to handle it. Like he's literally working like adjacent to like the US government, like trying to like stamp out the red element or whatever, the fucking Russian influence, the communist agenda.
Right.
So it's
The
like,
red
of course that paranoia is like kind of like inhibiting his ability to discern what is true and what is not.
Right.
Obviously he also has schizophrenia.
Yeah.
But like
yeah, that is
but
true.
like it's just like adding to it. It's just like fucking it's like fuel to the flame.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting element, and I kind of thought the movie was maybe gonna get a bit political or historical, but it really doesn't. I guess it didn't have to. I just kind of thought that that's the road we were going down, and then it's really not about any greater world occurrences.
Anything else you want to say about A Beautiful Mind?
Why does he sniff her handkerchief that she gives him?
I
Like-
actually thought that was like lovely. I think it's just like kind of like a sense thing that like keeps him grounded. That's how I took it.
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was really creepy because it's their first date and she gives him a hanky and he's just like,
I guess on the first date it's maybe it's a little much. But
yeah, it's a little much.
I think
I didn't
throughout
really
their
buy
lives-
their relationship at all. Also, she's like a math whiz too, and then that's like never brought up again.
No, and like she like is going to like because then she has to be kind of like the breadwinner because like John Nash can't really work like once he goes
Yeah.
on like on medication and like she's like, all right, I gotta go to work, and I was like, what's your job? And she doesn't say it.
No, we don't
Like,
know.
what do you do?
But she
You
kind
went
of
to
is an
fucking-
enigma.
Yeah, like you went, you like are very smart. So what's your job?
Yeah, what's up? Like,
I just imagined she was like a typist or something, but I'm like, that can't be right?
but that's kind of what I imagined too. I mean, maybe that's fucked up, but like the movie
No, but that's how
doesn't.
the movie treats it. The movie
Right,
treats her
it's
as
not
like,
us.
oh,
It's not us.
Yeah, she's just
The
like,
movie just kind of casts her aside. She's just the vehicle for John Nash's character development. Unfortunately, she's
Yeah,
not really fleshed out.
it sets her up as like a math whiz only so that she can meet John Nash, and then after
Yeah.
that's like she's just a housewife now,
Yeah,
but not really because she's also like working.
she's
But
got to take care of the baby.
Yeah, it's like
What's up with the pens? Like the final moment is like everybody gives him a pen as like a show of solidarity and support.
what I don't get about that, it's like, did they know that that guy was from the Nobel fucking committee and they were listening like, oh God, he's gonna get the Nobel Prize, and then they come over and give him a pen?
So initially,
It's so
like when
contrived.
it started happening, like they're out at dinner with getting dinner with like the Nobel Prize guy, and then like
Yeah.
everybody else in the restaurant is like giving him pens.
Yeah.
And when that started happening, I was like, oh, the Nobel guy set this up like as like a nice little moment. But then he clearly doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's
Yeah.
like, well, that's fucking nuts. How about this? It's
Yeah.
like, what is this? Is this a Harvard thing?
Yeah.
Or a Princeton thing or whatever? And everybody has the same pen, by the way. I don't know. That seemed irked me for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's truly not worth it. Not worth spending any more brain power on.
At the same time, I did think, okay, this movie,
Here we go.
it kind of has the Forrest Gump effect where like it sort of moves me to tears despite all of my intellectual faculties. I'm like, this is bullshit,
Okay.
whatever. But like this movie, I definitely got teary-eyed during the pen scene. I got teary-eyed like during his speech to his wife at the end.
It hits the notes. It hits the right notes.
Yeah. The movie kind of played me like a fiddle.
Yeah. It's almost like it hits the right notes, but doesn't really know what those notes are, if that makes any sense.
It hits the notes accidentally, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we kind of jazzed into something, I guess.
Yeah, we
Let's
jazzed
keep-
into something
Let's
here.
keep hitting this note and see what happens.
And listen, I respect, like, you hit the notes how you hit the notes.
Any other thoughts?
Truly none.
Cool. Same.
Cool.
It's solid. I think it's worth a watch.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
It's definitely better than A Man for All Seasons.
I deleted that from my brain.
That was the
entirely.
last movie we talked about, and you
It's
already forgot.
crazy. That's crazy. That was the most forgettable movie of all time. I'm literally okay. No, I remember it now. Now I remember it.
Do you want to hear the other nominees for the year of 2002?
Lay them on me.
All right, so just before, weirdly, the best directing category has way better movies in it than like the best picture category. Like, I think the 5 best directors that are nominated for this year those also should have been the best pictures. I mean, 3 of them are, but the other 2, I just want to cite really quick. You got Black Hawk Down, directed by Ridley Scott, which was not nominated for best picture, but Ridley Scott was nominated for best director. Black Hawk Down is a movie I watched obsessively as like a 11-year-old. Probably too young to watch that movie, but whatever.
Definitely, yeah.
That movie kicks ass. It is so good. I haven't seen it in years, so I mean, I guess maybe take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but that should have been nominated.
You haven't seen it since you were an 11-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was really into like Call of Duty and war.
Nice.
I was sort of a jingoist.
Nice, dude. That was my Hurt Locker era.
Yeah. And then the other movie that was nominated for best director but not picture was David Lynch for Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive is a masterpiece. Maybe David Lynch's best movie, and it should have been nominated for best picture.
Duly noted.
That's all I want to say.
And that's going on the list, frankly.
Yeah, I think you'll think it's weird, but like it. All right. So the nominees for 2002, you got Beautiful Mind, obviously wins.
Has to.
Then we have this movie I actually kind of meant to watch before this, just because I have always wanted to see it, but I didn't. So it's Gosford Park, directed by Robert Altman, who famously directed MASH, your favorite movie.
Oh, yes. My favorite.
This is like maybe his second to last movie, because I think he died in 2005, 6.
R.I.P.
And it is set in 1930s England, where a group of pretentious, rich, and famous gather together for a weekend of relaxation at a hunting resort. But when a murder occurs, each one of these interesting characters becomes a suspect. It's basically like Art House Clue, almost.
That sounds kind of sick.
Yeah.
What's
I
it
hear
called?
it's Gosford Park.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I hear it's really good.
Okay. Gosford Park.
Now we have... Just give me 1 second. We have In the Bedroom. Ever been?
Never. Where does it take place?
You won't believe it. This is directed by Todd Field, who actually directed Tar like 2 years ago.
Oh, so Todd's still swinging.
Yeah, he's only directed like 3 movies. Tar was his first movie in like 18 years or some crazy shit like that.
We love a
I don't
hiatus.
know which one of this. I don't know if this is like his first or second, but directed by Todd Field.
Yeah.
Summertime on the coast of Maine. In the Bedroom centers on the inner dynamics of a family in transition. Matt Fowler is a doctor practicing at his native
Whoa.
Maine.
I have a friend named Matt Fowler. Sorry.
That's so weird. He's a doctor practicing at his native Maine and is married to New York-born Ruth Fowler,
Okay.
a music teacher.
I don't know Ruth Fowler.
That sucks. His son is involved in a love affair with a local single mother. As the beauty of Maine's brief and fleeting summer comes to an end, these characters find themselves in the midst of unimaginable tragedy.
Okay. That's so vague.
Cryptic. It sounds pretty good.
I kind of sounds like it sucks. I'm sorry.
Fucking Christ.
Well, what's the tragedy? I don't know.
Tragedy is fucking suburban life. Ever heard of it?
Oh, so it's just like the general malaise that
Yeah.
is the tragedy.
Yeah, the general mayonnaise of
Got
tragedy.
it. That's brutal. That's tough.
Next up, we have, you won't believe it, but The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring.
Truly, really, honestly.
I don't know if you know about this one. It's about young hobbit Frodo Baggins, who,
I've only
after
seen the
inheriting
third one.
a mysterious ring from his uncle Bilbo, must leave his home in order to keep it from falling into the hands of its evil creator.
Oh, this is the
Along way,
first
a
one?
fellowship is formed to protect the ring bearer and make sure that the ring arrives at its final destination, Mount Doom, the only place where it can be destroyed.
Spoiler alert, it's going to take at least 9 more hours to get to Mount Doom.
Fellowship of the Ring is obviously my favorite. I think it's a masterpiece, and I think I would choose certainly this movie over Beautiful Mind, but what do I know? I just host a podcast about movies.
Fucking call us, Tom Hanks.
Yeah. What?
Come on the show. We're
Uh-huh.
experts.
And finally,
Mm.
a Baz Luhrmann joint,
Boz.
Moulin Rouge.
Oh, okay.
A celebration of love and creative inspiration takes place in the infamous, gaudy, and glamorous Parisian nightclub at the cusp of the 20th century. A young poet who is plunged into the heady world of Moulin Rouge begins a passionate affair with the club's most notorious and beautiful star.
Oh.
I don't know. It's a musical. I don't know. It's probably
Oh.
good.
Eh.
Baz Luhrmann, he doesn't always hit, but I feel like he really hits sometimes.
He's batting 500.
Yeah. There you go.
That's really good, right? That's
His on base percentage is like 2 out of 3. Pretty good.
Yeah. That's a callback for you baseball fans. Yes. We hope you're still listening.
Do you think Beautiful Mind is Best Picture worthy?
I do. It definitely has a lot of the trappings of it, but I also liked it and I thought it was enjoyable. So, yeah. Give it the Oscar. You're not going to give it the Oscar?
I don't know. You know, ever since we talked on the King's Speech episode about a movie being for the times, I'm just like, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Who knows? Nobody knows.
I'm trying to think what's a better, because like, not to be too serious, but this is the Oscars after 9/11, so it's like, what is the movie for the times? I don't really know.
I mean,
Maybe
but
Lord
what
of the
do you
Rings.
Do you want like Remember Me to come out? Like, I don't understand. Like,
I'm just saying to deal with
It's a
that
good
that
point,
national
though.
anxiety.
yeah,
Is Beautiful Mind the movie to do it? I don't really know.
it's a good point. I mean, like it's one of the rare moments in American history and world history where everybody is kind of thinking about one thing.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of nice to have a movie that, I mean, nice isn't the right word, but it would be apt to have a movie that captures that feeling as some sort of maybe a time capsule, maybe a sad little time capsule, but something that's indicative of the times. I agree with you. Even if it was something that was like crazy over the top and fun and weird, I think would be
Zoolander.
interesting. But that's yeah. You know why? Because you know what? Zoolander is more of the times than A Beautiful Mind is, because it flew in the face directly of like everything that we were feeling as a nation.
Well, Zoolander's whole thing, it came out 2 weeks after 9/11, and like
right.
it like made so much money. I think people, say because it's like, oh, people wanted to like fucking laugh at something.
It makes sense.
I don't think Beautiful Mind's Best Picture worthy. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. You know who does think Beautiful Mind is Best Picture worthy?
Ron Howard.
Yes. Ron Howard does, and so do the people.
Yeah.
I found some reviews from some folks on the internet about A Beautiful Mind. Would you like to hear a couple of them?
Sure.
Okay. Keep in mind, these are not my views. These are not our views as a show. These are the views of strangers.
I don't like that. Don't like in preface. I don't like that.
It's fine. Give me the name of somebody who's just got a big, beautiful mind.
Megamind.
Megamind says 1.5 stars. Good one. Jesus Christ. A Beautiful Mind was one of the most predictable, boring, and safe movies I've seen in a long time. Watching this was like eating such a bland airplane food that has little to no flavor nor originality to it. Can't believe this shit won multiple Oscars over Mulholland Drive and Shrek, which you failed to mention. The true Oscar winner.
That was the movie that cured national anxiety and actually it won Best Animated Feature.
All right, fair enough. But it should have won Best Picture.
Shrek is the first movie to win Best Animated Feature because it was the first year that they had that Oscar. It's the first movie to ever win it.
And that feels right. Like, I know you're a noted...
Yeah, Shrek's a piece of shit.
Yeah, you're a noted Shrek hater, but I do think that feels right, that Shrek was first to win it.
Here's what I love about the Shrek win. The next year, Spirited Away wins, which is maybe the best movie ever made.
And I have to say, they are comparable. I'm not even being facetious. I do believe that truly.
They both have a lot of cultural import.
Yeah, you know what they do? Einstein.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue. Why?
Both 5 stars.
I can't argue with that, but one's good and one's bad.
Give me the name of somebody who's just kicking back and having a nice little Sunday afternoon.
Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots says 2 stars. This movie brought me through math, Russian spies, and imaginary friends just to tell me that love is the answer before the question. Fine. And I could not agree more.
That's really good.
I guess just fine.
He does say that in his last speech, right? Love is the answer before the question.
Yeah.
That's actually beautiful, though.
Yeah, it actually is. There are some nice little...
I don't know if he actually said that, like, in his Nobel speech, but whether that's a screenwriting thing or if he said that, that's beautiful stuff.
Last review. 2 stars. Don't even bother with a name for this person.
Anonymous. Redacted
says, what exactly is beautiful about that mind, bruh? And I'll leave it at that.
Next week, we're going to talk about Ordinary People.
That's a movie?
1981 Best Picture winner, Ordinary People, directed by Robert J. Redford.
Oppenheimer. Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bet you didn't know
this is gonna.
Bet you didn't know he was a director.
I did not. Shows what I know.
He's directed a few movies.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening. Rate, review, subscribe. What do people say? Rate, review, subscribe. Follow me on Letterboxd, Mike Obry, Obry. He's hates films on Letterboxd.
That's true. Take down the establishment.
And so say you're at Princeton.
Okay.
Say you're in the little tea room.
Yeah.
Say you see a guy who's had a lot of trials and tribulations.
Many.
Public, private.
Yeah.
But say he is about to get a Nobel, or at the very least, he's gotten a lot of he's done a lot despite his adversity. Say you see that guy. He's sitting in the fucking tea room. He's eating a fucking steak sandwich or something.
Nice.
I want you to go up to him, pull a mustard-covered hot dog out of your pocket, and just set it down beside him. Yeah. He looks hungry. That steak isn't quite filling him up. He needs more.
It's all over himself. He needs
a weird mishmash of pork.
Yeah.
For his loins.
He needs a couple of he needs a little bit of lint on that pork. Needs a little bit of jacket pocket lint.
Yeah. Oh, your pen spilled on the hot dog? Even better.
Delicious. We eat that shit up.
I want all of you fuckers in that room to just put a hot dog on that table for him because he deserves
Stack
it.
them up. He deserves it.
And that's it. He'll have a munch.
He will.
He'll have a feast for a king.
Feast for a king.
Feast
Nobel
for
Prize
a
winner.
beautiful mind.
Nice.
Clean. See you next week. Wieners.
Wieners.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
I want you, when you get to Williamsburg, I want you to just spend too much money on like something that isn't worth it. Like,
Okay, I will.
Get like a meatball sub that's like $40 for some reason.